Good morning, my name is Emmanuelle Bischoffe-Cluzel. I'm Sustainability Lead for Global Automotive Industry at Capgemini. Welcome to our session. We are here to speak about an exciting project, a small, lightweight, affordable and attractive electric vehicle that make a great contribution to our next future and to the health of the planet, while stimulating the economy, especially in Europe. Joining me for this session, Pierre-Edouard Sorel, Director of Movin'On, Christophe Dipernat, Head of Special Project. Christophe has an extensive experience in automotive and mobility in Alliance Partner. And Jacques Portalier, Automotive Project Manager in an NGO called the Shift Project. Thank you for being here with me. Could you, Pierre-Edouard, speak a bit about Movin'On? What is Movin'On?
Hello, everyone. Movin'On is an ecosystem that was created by Michelin in 2017. It's made of around 30 corporate companies that work together on sustainable mobility topics. So how does it work? Our partners come to us and say, look, I have a topic, I would like to tackle it, and we assemble the right coalition to work on it. Just to name it, we're going to have an event on November 7th. We're going to address 13 different topics like this one. And we have two, by the way, that are led by Capgemini. And we will have a CEO participation. Actually, 6 CEOs are going to be there during the event.
So Capgemini is member of this Movin'On ecosystem. We are leading 2 communities of interest, one in the software with Jean-Marie Lapère and Valérie Vatel, and the other one, this one, EV Weight, which I co-lead with my colleague Stéphane Bollereda from Capgemini Engineering. A few words about Capgemini Engineering. Capgemini Engineering is supported OEM in the development of electric vehicle. In particularly, they have supported the Citroën Ami that you can see here at the Paris Motor Show. They have supported also in the collaboration of the Duo, Renault Duo, the reveal on which is also on the stand mobilized here in the Paris Motor Show. Capgemini Engineering help us to make a simulation, a digital simulation of our project in parallel to our advocacy to Europe. So why are we here? So we are all friends of automotive. We are all motivated by this passion of automotive. So let's talk about our passion, the emotion that we put on this project. Jacques.
Thank you, Emmanuelle. So from my side, I spent 20 years in the automotive industry in the field of engineering, innovation, product strategy, and corporate strategy. And I have been interested from a personal point of view in climate and ecological issues since 2004, so a long time ago. And so in 2018, I decided to shift my career direction and put my experience to work on the climate and ecological transition. So for the Shift project, I managed the construction of the plan de transformation de l'économie française concerning the automotive industry sector. And so we are trying to contribute to this discussion with this working group, bringing and providing our vision and trying to analyze the proposal through these filters. So, Christophe.
Yeah, good morning also. Yeah, for me, also spent quite a bit of time in the automotive industry, and then I shifted 8 years ago to the insurance industry. So basically, I'm not the engineering guy around the table, but I'm very interested in how can we put all stakeholders and brought things forward in terms of affordability, good things for the environment, I mean, or improving things for the environment. So it's not so often that an insurer can really play a role into that. But we believe there's a lot of things in the ecosystem where we can package, support, influence, and generate positive things for the community. So that's the emotional part of it. Normally an insurer is not very emotional, but on this project, I think we can bring a lot of services and a lot of good ideas with our automotive background and good team spirit.
And on my side, I also worked for the car industry in product planning, and now I work. I used to work also in the tire industry, in marketing and in innovation. Actually, what I like a lot in that industry is that people are passionate. They're passionate when they drive their cars. They put a lot of things that they have inside of them in the car, and that's what I was focused on during that community of interest. Is how do we make sure that we have that we propose an object that fits what people want and what they want to express also.
So on my side, I'm passionate about automotive. I like the product. I like the car. For me, it's a symbol of freedom. You can go everywhere whenever you want. So that's my passion. And more specifically on this project, I think really this is the car we need for our parents, for us, for the young generation of today and of tomorrow. And I am very conscious about the necessity to speed up the transition to electrification and to help the OEM today in their sustainable journey. So, yes, what I have also to say is that I like working in an ecosystem of partners, and that's really enjoyable to share this project together. So now getting more about the topic as a professional interest, can you tell us a bit more about your professional interest? You may not be working directly with an OEM yourself, but can you explain the reason why you have getting involved? Jacques?
Yeah, as you know, perhaps the SHIFT project is a think tank dedicated to the carbon transition. For the SHIFT project, it is essential to promote a systemic vision regarding this carbon transition, and in particular, if we consider the transformation of mobility towards the carbon neutrality. So concretely for us, that means that we have to take attention and in a consistent way to different factors. The first one is the demand of mobility. That means the number of kilometers we have to do or we want to travel every year. The second item is the modal shift. We are promoting the use of the most carbon and energy efficient transport mode in regard to our needs and when they are available. We have also to think about the optimization of the passenger car filling rate. So that means promote carpooling. And we are also taking in consideration the technical transformation of the passenger car offer. So what we are discussing in that group is touching these different fields. And so the switch to electric vehicles that are economical in terms of material, energy, and so which are low carbon and that are produced in France or Europe is a key part of our vision. That type of vehicle could satisfy a wide range of user needs. So for daily travel in extra-urban area and also rural area. In the SHIFT project that we are thinking that for the core city mobility, urban mobility, we have to prioritize the collective transport mode or active modes. But there's a wide range of use that can be covered by this light and efficient electric vehicle. And that kind of vehicle are necessary if we want to have a successful transition. But for us, there is no silver bullet. If we want that this software deliver its full potential and its full benefits from an environmental point of view and also on a social point of view, it is essential that this deployment will be accompanied by consistent measures, in particular to move away from a all-car mobility, but perhaps I will detail a little bit later. So perhaps Christophe can complete.
Yes, thank you. So from an insurance perspective, I mean, the reason why we joined the project is probably on three folds. First of all, cars have been increasing in price, but consequently also increase in weight because of the EV technology. So increased weight, increased price means for the insurers a little bit more pressure. Second one is usage, because it's insurance normally happens at the end of the story. You know, we buy your car, you get your insurance, and that's it. Then we wait for a year. Technology now, its connectivity is allowing us to have a bit more close relationship with the end users by connectivity. And so as such, this connectivity allows different usage. And we are an insurance and an assistance company. So the services, the tailor-made services in a standardized way is also what really interested us. So the weight is definitely something that matters for us in terms of accidentology. Potentially, we might speak later on about speed. The third one being the battery. I mean, it has a very strong impact on the weight and the price. And so consequently, nothing is free and the insurance has to bear that extra cost. So we have all the ingredients for us to support the transition, to be part of it, to contribute to it, and to trying to make sure that we are able to support the community with an object that is actually fitting a lot of usage.
Okay. So let's talk about the usage and the affordability. So as you mentioned, as we started, we saw this car as a part of a mobility service, especially with this young generation, which is more attached to have a service rather than to own their own car. And by the way, today, Capgemini Research Institute has just launched a report study on the customer experience. And there is a figure that is very interesting. 65% of the young generation in the cities prefer to have a service than a car. So we started with this idea of mobility services, and then with the time, it becomes also obvious that this car could be also bought and owned in the conventional way, that's to say, purchased as a car. And that's why this car is for rural, peri-rural, and urban usage. And that's great news because we want to make volumes. And that's to say, with volumes, we will be able to make the cost down and to make it affordable. Christophe, can you speak a bit more about the affordability from an insurance perspective?
Yeah, I mean, when we speak about affordability of the car usage, we speak about total cost of ownership. So it starts with the car's basically the initial price, whether it is retail or whether it is leased. But it's also all the operating costs from potential circular economy for spare part repairs, for an adjusted technology, for the thing you need and not the extra thing that you probably don't need. It's also about making sure that the ingredients we are all bringing to the table, we all come with constraints and cost-related things. So speed, number of mileage, usage, location where you use it, and so on and so forth. All these small steps are adding or not adding to the ultimate affordability of the product. So from an hardware perspective, there is the cost of the product, there is the usage of it, there's the financing of it to a certain extent. And so the idea is to stretch the limit, to go slightly outside the 9 dots and go away from the traditional maybe 48 months average of leasing and try to see whether we can use the technology plus the product itself as a way to segment it across the years to make sure that thanks to EV, you know that cars can have a longer lifespan. The battery is guaranteed 8 years. So if you think about a 9 years warranty on battery, you can slice things in 3 ways. So you have the early adopters, then you can go to car sharing, and then you can go maybe for the young generation who have very little access to mobility due to price, due to if you live in a rural area, you need to have access to mobility. So you want to have something that is state of the art in terms of technology, although it is small, and also that is safe and guaranteed somehow by an insurer. So affordability is an ecosystem. It's all the convergence of all our expertise and experience from the technology inside the cars, from the hardware design, from the way you're going to repair it, from the way what type of safety you're going to put in it in terms of passive and active. So really, this is what is also extremely challenging, but it's also the opportunity to really think without the constraint of each and every companies, but towards a common goal. And so that's why affordability is not only a concept, it's a reality, and we are trying to achieve it.
So let's be concrete about affordability. What we aim in our book is really to reach the 10,000 euro as a price for this car, or 100 euro per month leasing. Coming back to a study that is already in all media about a key car. You have made a specific study of accidentology, Christophe, on the key car. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Me again, but not jack of all trades, but at least on the K cars of Japan, I think it's an interesting benchmark, or at least an interesting stories to see. I mean, it was created for not the same reason as the one we are trying to achieve today, but for the last 10 years, thanks to technology, thanks to maybe EV transformation, they have achieved two aspects. K cars are, cars developed in Japan after the Second World War. They are small in size. I mean, they are basically low engine at that time. Now they are EVs. But they are reaching good safety ratings right now. They are widely used in the rural areas. And on an accidentology point of view, we know that they are really on par now with the normal M1 cars available on the market. So it has really strengthened the pickup rate of the K cars. I mean, they represent a significant amount of the Japanese market every year in sales. And they do have the advantage of being lightweight. They have a low, let's say, print on the ground. They are, let's say, well catered or well designed for various array of people, elderly in the countryside, but not only. You'll see a lot of more youngsters buying them in cities because they do have ancillary benefit like no parking fees inside if you drive one in Tokyo and so on. So there's a lot of benefit out of it. So that car is slowly getting into an ecosystem that I was kind of describing earlier on, and that was an interesting benchmark for us. Of course, physics at its lows. It's a one-ton car. They also have increasing weight in Japan, so that's why we are putting a lot of stress on safety and making sure that we will protect the customers to the best of the technology and try to do the good benchmark. And we've been working with some German institute, and I'm sure Pierre-Edouard will mention that later.
Yeah.
So we have spoken about the usage, and we like to say that it's one size fits all usage. Can you speak a bit about this, Pierre-Edouard?
Thank you, Emmanuelle. Maybe just going back to some data. This is public data. In France, 98% of trips are less than 80 kilometers. So that's the reality today. Why do we use our cars? We use it to fetch the kids, to go and do some errands, to go to work or to go to the university. Most of the time, we don't need a big car. But the reality is that when we buy our car, we buy it relatively to a peak usage with all the kids, all the luggage inside the car. But that's the car that we drive on a daily basis. So it's really time to think about another side for this car. And this is why we say one size fits all. It's actually a small size fits all. The objective of this car is not to be a second or third car of the family. The objective of this car is to be the main car of the family. And then we can take the train, and then we can rent a bigger car if we need a bigger car. But we need to stop using huge cars all day long. And then remember, there's 1.4 people in car on average. I think it's 1.1 on commuting trips. We need small cars and and that car is a four-seater, by the way, at least four-seater. It's more than enough with an acceptable range for most of our trips.
So let's move on concretely what we are trying to do. So on the screen, you have our roadmap. So between 400 kilo and 1 ton, today there is a blue ocean, no electric car. The lightest car is the Dacia Spring, which weighs 970 kilograms. So what we want to do is first to create a new category, which we call M1 Light, behind 850 kilograms with the batteries. And this is for 2028. We don't change anything in safety. It's the GSR2 safety norm. And how we define this category, we define it with the weight and with the carbon footprint. We have defined the carbon footprint about 6 tons CO2 equivalent. This is less than 30% of the actual level required for the ecological bonus. So it's an ambition target, and it will push the reindustrialization in Europe, the use of recycled material, the repairability, the eco-design from the beginning of the definition of the vehicle. So a first step, this M1 Light. Then we want to go really further with a category which we call M0, under 750 kilograms with a battery, and this by 2035. I will let Pierre-Edouard go more in the details. But before, about sustainability. What we make also, as mentioned at the beginning, with Capgemini Engineering, we are creating the simulation of this vehicle. And for this, we are using eco-design tools, so tools that make us, from the beginning, work on the way of the vehicle and the carbon footprint. It's some iteration and a virtuous loop while designing the vehicle. We work also on innovation to lightweight the vehicle with our partners, and we prove that we are able to reach this target of 6 tons of CO2 equivalent. Jacques, as an NGO perspective, can you tell us more about what we present and this target of 6 CO2 equivalent?
Yeah.
6 tons.
From the point of view of the SHIFT project and the vision we have built, the first point is that the technical specification that you have taken for this project are in line with our recommendation and what we think is necessary. More to widen a little bit the point of view at the SHIFT project, for us, it seems reasonable to think the mobility differently, so giving back the rightful place of car in our mobility and also its rightful size. So the project we are talking about today, then the technical specification gives the rightful size to the car. For us, we have in our report, the Plan de transformation de l'économie française, we are targeting a decrease of 300 kilo for the average weight of the fleet. So the kind of vehicles we are discussing today is completely in line with that kind of targets. And if we manage the market penetration in order to replace the actual or a big part of the actual M1 vehicle, we can reach that kind of target. To achieve that target, if we think about the vehicle fleet, that means that this vehicle has to be on the road around 2030 in order to rise high volumes and in 2050 be a big part of the French and European fleet of vehicles. But we have to keep in mind that we have a question of the right place of the passenger car in the mobility. And for us, it's very important. We have to have in mind that in the last 50 years, the mobility has changed, and the passenger car has become the key point and quite the only way to travel, and the territorial organization is shaped around the passenger car. That's something we have to take care. And so that's the reason why we think in the Shift project that the commercialization of that kind of vehicle has to be accompanied with a range of conditions and regulations or incentives in order to avoid the rebound effects. So that means when you have a car which is cheaper, which consumes less energy or have a better TCO, what are the conditions you have to put through this market to avoid that you increase the number of kilometers you travel, or you increase the distance between your home and your job, for example. We have also to manage measures in order to help replace the EV vehicle. We all know that the last 20 years there's a big increase of the obesity of passenger cars. And we have also to think about the business models and the incentives in order that the passenger car mobility will be complementary with the other mode of transport. So think multimodal instead of only car mobility. Last point, we have also a concern around the affordability, and we are convinced that there's a question of widening the range of business model and way of commercialization around that kind of car. It can be also a clue to ensure the complementarity with public transport. And so as the title we have chosen for our report is that we have to move from automotive industry to low carbon road mobility industry. That means that for the automotive industry, there's a challenge in terms of business model, moving from only selling cars to providing services of mobility which are low carbon. So this is for the vision of the Shift. So.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Coming back to the roadmap, so this M1 class 850 kilogram, we know how to reach this way, working on the dimension of the vehicle, working on the mass of the battery, of the dimension of the battery according to the usage, and it's quite near for 2028. But to go into the category of M0, we need some disruptive scenario. Can you tell which are these scenarios, Pierre-Edouard?
Thank you, Emmanuelle. Well, actually, the first thing is probably to adapt the norm in terms of safety. It doesn't mean that we want a less safe car. And I'm going to explain. The use of these cars is probably going to be a bit different than the use of the cars that we have today. So we've already joined with some other partners and looked at that in terms of real usage to be sure that we can adapt basically crash tests so that it fits the usage that we want. The second thing on safety is that, you know, we have a lot of new systems, emergency automotive braking, the type of these, that are on new cars, but not on the overall car park. But by 2033, 2035, there's going to be a huge part of the car park that is going to be equipped with those systems. And then, because if all the car park is equipped with the systems, probably there's going to be a lot less accidents. And so you don't need all the safety reinforcement that we put in the car. So that's another step into making those cars more lighter. And then another thing is we're talking about 10 years from now. So if we know now that in 10 years from now, there's going to be a new segment targeting 750 kg, we have time for research and development programs. We have time to organize ourselves. Corporate companies, making sure that we are able to reach that target with lighter solutions, safer, also, but also more efficient.
Thank you. So adapt the norm to this new category of vehicle, knowing that we cannot have the same norm for a vehicle weighing 750 kilograms compared to one weighing 2 tons. Thank you, Pierre-Edouard. We haven't spoken about the speed. So we have discussed a lot in the group. Should we define the speed as mandatory for this category? And we finally decide that no, but we recommend a speed. Can you speak about the speed as an insurance point of view?
Speed. I mean, let's speak from an insurance point of view. I mean, of course, the more speed, the more damage. That's an obvious statement. But I guess what we are talking here is probably what is the right speed and the right speed for the usage. And once again, technology can do a lot of things as well there. If I were referring to the K car I was mentioning earlier on, they had initially 80 kilometers max. They have improved it in the last 5 years thanks to the ratings they had on safety and so on. So they have reached somewhere around 100, 110. And that's pretty much what we might have to discuss and think about. I mean, Europe is quite diverse in terms of speed limits, but I mean, once again, we know speed has a lot of benefits, and from an insurance and risk perspective, that's an obvious statement. So if we want to really open the usage of the cars to a wide audience, if we want to make sure that the affordability and let's say the mobility as a service that we want to define is easy to access, affordable, and so on, we might have to work on the speed. But once again, if you know that 91% of accidents are human-generated, 41% are with a mobile phone, so there's a lot of job that we have to do in prevention, but speed is a no-brainer. And I think with the speed that we are contemplating right now, there's 99% of the usage in a fun and let's say smooth way on everyday activities.
Okay, thank you. So can we speak about the name of our project?
Sure. Sure. We want to call that car the pop car. It would be a new segment. Why pop? Because when you hear it, it pops in the ear. It's also a reference to popular. Some of you know that in Brazil, for instance, that's a popular segment. That's a bit the idea. To have that European specific segment, like K-car, like popular, that we call pop car. We think it's a nice name actually, and we all agree on it.
So I will sum up the key points that stand out. We want, so thanks to this, with the help of this advocacy, we want to convince the European Commission that European Commission should support this new category of vehicle because we are fully convinced that it will be a change gamer. It will help leverage the drive to reduce the carbon footprint of the EV and push the reindustrialization of Europe. It will help our OEM to increase their EV sales and meet the CAFE regulation. And it will satisfy our fellow citizens with their need for sustainable development and their desire to have a car adapted to their need as a car or as a service. I want also to point out that the group is much bigger than the four of us. We have also Valeo, Saint-Gobain, Crédit Agricole, Michelin in this great adventure. It's people who are passionate, who are ready to put their know-how, their engineering and their passion at the service of innovation to accelerate this transition for a better future and the transition to electric vehicles. So thank you very much for your insightful contributions, Jacques, Christophe and Pierre-Edouard. And I hope that you enjoy the session. Do you have some questions? Okay. Can you come, Marie?
Yes, thank you.
If you, Marie.
So
Edouard?
maybe
Yes.
yeah, the question, are there other stakeholders?
Yeah.
Actually, when we discussed it, we realized that the GERPISA, so GERPISA is more academic, actually looked at the topic and came up with quite the same results. And so we're going to work together, as well as the VDI, Verband Deutscher Ingenieur, so the Association of the German Engineers that has been working on it from a passive safety topic, and they also want to collaborate on it. So that topic is hot, I mean, on the market right now, but we have a distinct and different point of view, I think. We have a point of view from corporate companies with an NGO, which is very interesting, and we're going to team up with those guys to make sure that that we make the biggest sound that we can.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have another question.
How do you think companies like Capgemini provide the technology can help with this podcast with technologies like using levers like data and software engineering?
Do you want to take the question?
Not from Capgemini, but
Yes. First, we can help thanks to Capgemini Engineering. And that's sure, for sure. I mentioned at the beginning the AMI development or the dual development. So we are able to develop such a pop car. We want also to use eco-design tools to make it really from the beginning, and that's very important because we have really a very ambitious target in terms of CO2 footprint. Where we can also help is also with the software, because we have mentioned it. We want to make a car affordable. We want to extend the lifespan of this car. So to do that, we will need software to update the new application all along the lifespan of this vehicle. We need also software for the safety, because we said we can move from passive safety to active safety through software. What else? Do you have other ideas? Because it's really broad. Yes, software
can you do
customization.
geofencing? I mean,
Yes.
if you have data, I mean, it's not Capgemini, but from an insurance perspective, the cars is providing data. There's a lot of things that we can provide as service for safety, for convenience. Geofencing, for instance, if you have younger drivers, you can really control things. It's not like Big Brothers, but at least it's going to help mobility and provide a bit of freedom for everyone. You think about specific services that you might be able to have at your fingertips. So really, it's like being part of an ecosystem, mobility, or intermodal approach. You park your cars, you book your train. All these can be worked out. So for us, data is not the new oil, but it's actually a good way to monetize the activities, to tailor the activities, and I believe all the software makers shall be able to provide the data. So.
Yeah. And so an individualization through software. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.